Hello, everyone. Brother Al McClaney with this week's stewardship video. And as always, before we go too far, no advice should be seen as a recommendation or endorsement, as I am not a licensed financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You want to do your own research. If you have a financial advisor or a consultant who operates in that capacity, that's what they're there for. You want to seek their advice, and especially if you're paying for it. So this video could be considered coffee part two. And if you don't know about coffee part one, you can go to last week's video where I basically purge myself and be fully authentic and transparent by letting you know how much I spend on Starbucks lattes, specifically caramel macchiato. It was about a little over $2,000 a year. Well, I will let you know I'm doing much better. Last week, I think I did it once to Starbucks, and it's not necessarily going cold turkey on the particular things because the whole idea is what are some things that you're spending money on that are a desire versus a need or a want versus a need. And you're saying, you know what, I could better. That money can be better served by doing this in the area of giving or in the area of more savings or in the area of paying down debt. But the idea is not necessarily going cold turkey on something, but is there a repositioning of that money? And in my case, my solution was to start making the coffee at work. And that saved me a tremendous amount just in 1 week. So the scripture behind that was Luke 14, 28 and 30, where it's talking about counting the cost. Now, the specific biblical doctrine is talking about discipleship, but we know Jesus often used financial examples in his parables, which still had solid truths when it comes to financial, but not only, but also from a spiritual standpoint. But Luke 14:28, verse 30 in the New American Standard Bible says, "For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who are watching it will begin to ridicule him, saying this person began to build and was not able to finish." And what are the type of things you could be building? You could be building retirement. You could be building up to the tithe. Say, I'm not tithing now, or I want to be more generous, or I want to pay down debt. And if you're not counting the cost, looking at your expenses and where areas that you could be more effectively using God's resources and money, then you could come up short in your goal. So again, it's not a matter of, in my case, it was latte, but whatever that is, you fill in the blank in your life. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to look at eating out. That's a big one too, in which I'm going to purge myself. I'm kind of concerned about when I calculate and add that up, what that amounts to. So one of the things in doing this is what are some tools that you could use. So here's the idea of the automatic millionaire, which is David Bach. Now, this is a secular book, and that's where the latte factor comes from. And the big idea is small daily expenses like lattes add up to redirecting them into savings and can build wealth. And it talks about three secrets to financial freedom. Now, for us as Christian believers, we're not paying ourselves first. But I guess in a sense, we are investing in God's kingdom first, and then the net spendable amount that comes after that, you want to pay yourself first by saving, make it automatic by making it consistent, and leverage now, which says spend on what truly matters, align money with your values. Here's the core message. You don't need to earn more, just spend smarter. Small changes equal financial impact. Now, just imagine if I just cut that when I told you the number was like $2,300. If I cut that in half, even less than half, $1,000 that could have went to either generosity, uh, saving, or toward like mortgage payment, pay down debt, or a combination of all. Right. So that's that book. And it's a secular book, as I said, because our idea as believers would be first, we're generous toward God with his resources by first, uh, in my case, the tithe first, and offering off the top. And you would decide if you're not at the tithe, what's that amount that God's, placed on your heart? And so here's some practical tools to help you do this. Now, each one of these I have dabbled in, and I have these. Each one of these has a free component, but it's also you can pay for a paid component, which is this is an online application that allows you to budget online, or spending plan is what we like to call it. And if you pay for the component, like you need a budget, which is YNAB, or every dollar, which is Dave Ramsey's thing, it'll interact with your bank. That's usually the paid component. There's a Faith FI. Monarch is one that my our own Deacon Rodney Johnson at my church, he really loves this. And it got me turned on to it. And then if you have your bank, you can go through most banks. I'm familiar with Wells Fargo, and you can track your spending and categorize it within there and run reports. So whatever the tool is, even if it's a spreadsheet, you're using stubby pencil and getting receipts for your spending, you track that, find where there are some opportunities that can best be served prayerfully in redirecting those resources. So these are just some examples of those that are out there. The point is, find a tool that works for you. And I'm going to go on a kind of a journey in the next couple of weeks, and you all, encourage you, keep me accountable. Where I'm going to probably use one of these tools. Not I'm going probably I'm going to use one of these tools to track that eating out, and then settle on one that I feel comfortable with. But I'm gonna dabble in each one of them, just maybe to give you some um, some principles out of it. So with that, excited about this time of year. This is fourth quarter. So we'll start to get into the earnings reports of third quarter of the companies that are reporting. Again, here's a reminder of disclaimer, because we are now going to be mentioning some companies that these are not endorsements or recommendations, but this is the whole month of October. So we start kicking off in the week of the 13th. It won't be on the 13th because that's Columbus Day, federal holiday. The market will be closed. But look, all next week, we're starting off with earnings. This typical beginning of earnings season is the financials reporting. So we know on Tuesday we'll be hard and heavy with Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Citi, and I'll have a slide that gives us more detail of that week. But we'll keep putting this slide up because it gives us a good view of the whole month of what's going on in October. But here's October, the week of October 13th. This is what's going on. So we're right off. As I said from the beginning, we're getting some heavy financials. We're also getting like a good consumer spending on it in Dollar Tree. And we'll end with like American Express, Regions Bank, Core America, Ally Bank. So next week, I will tell you the market will move. On top of trying to figure out what's going to happen with the tweet that happened when the president said 100% tariffs on China. That has already moved the market, and you're going to see it in the chart that I show of how the week ended with the market. But here's something I want to point out. So, with the tweet from President Trump, where he mentioned 100% tariffs on China, what it affected was a specific area or sector. It affected many of them, but one specifically is the rare earth area. And I've been talking about that. The rare earth minerals that are necessary for a lot of the electronic items that we have today. China has a monopoly pretty much on it, but there are some U.S. companies out there that are now starting to get prominent, and so much so that the government has taken stakes in them. And one of them was Materials Corporation. We talked about this one, and I actually did a trade in this one and picked up some shares. Again, not a recommendation. The other one is USA Rare Earth. There's discussions that the government may take a stake in that. I'm going to show you a chart of those. So here's Materials Corporation. And this is when I bought it, right? By God's grace, it was $58.55. It closed on Friday at $78.34. That's a $20. And this was July, like July 5th, 16th is when I purchased it. So from July 16th to October, was it 13th or that we closed? $20, a little under $20 increase. But it wasn't a smooth ride. I mean, up and down, and then $78. The other one was on CNBC was USA Rare Earth, and I didn't buy stock in this. I actually did what we call an options play on that. But I wish I had, and it may not be too late. But if I would have done it in the same day I did that that other trade, it was trading at a low around $11.05 for that time period, and it's now $32. That's also like a $20 increase. Maybe some room to run. So let's say it goes to 50. That was 20 more dollars. So I may look at doing that one. But again, this is not a recommendation. Look at your own situation, do your own research to see if this fits for you. But here's the market, and this is what we talked about. Here's QQQ. This is when we got the tweet saying that 100% tariffs on products from China, and you can see the market just turned over. Just a lot of volume here. That's what that bar means. A lot of people were trading, a lot of people were selling. Here's SPY. S&P 500, same thing, just turned over. So it's going to be interesting if this bounces next week. We know it won't happen on Columbus Day because the markets are closed, but we'll see the following week what's going on. So as I'm making this video, it's right before a class that is going on. And in the email, I put the Zoom. So there's a financial class that's going to take place for the next 6 weeks. I put it in the email. And as I said, just before that class started, I was making this video. So you may get it in time. If not, feel free to join us the following week. It's going to be on Sundays for the next 5 to 6 weeks at 4 o'clock Central Time. Within the email, it's got the Zoom link to get on. So I hope you will join us. We're going to be talking about all kinds of financial things. 4 o'clock Central. The Zoom is in the email. So with that, we'll see you next week on the Kingdom or the Stewardship video. And as Pastor Denny Dwight Davis says, keep a good spirit, have a yabba dabba do good time. And as we say on the Stewardship video, remember Jesus is Lord, therefore he's the owner, but we are the faithful stewards following his principles. We'll see you next week.